I'll give you the rundown of all the wear and tear that happens with a vehicle that's not made to live full-time in, and what happens when you live full-time in it for 2 years. And there's a lot of different stuff that happens and breaks and doesn't break.
Hey!
Hi.
I got him to show up.
Been busy. Been doing things. Working way too much.
So we've had the house for 6 months now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so after 2 years on the road full-time, we got the house about 6 months ago. We've been living here. We've been part-time RVers, very part-time.
Very part-time, yeah. I think we've emptied the RV, and I go out and do a monthly maintenance check, but that is about as much time as I've spent in the RV. Since we're in the P&W, I have damp rid set up through the rig just to make sure that if any water does manage to get in or anything like that, it does take it out of the air. And I'm also just checking for leaks and things like that, making sure that everything's kind of still in good condition. I also start it and I try to run our generator once a month. It usually ends up being every 2 months. But
We got the RV registered at the local DMV.
Yep.
Got all the interstate plate transfers done. By the way, if you do this, that is a major bureaucratic hassle.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously the bank still owns the RV technically, and so there was a whole having to send stuff to them and to the state of Oregon and all of that stuff. Plus, there was the manner of a missing title for one of our cars, which was really fun. I had eventually tracked that down to Ohio.
Yeah, like a couple moves ago.
So the state of Texas did not do what they said that they were going to do for us, which was to title the car in Texas, and ended up having to chase a bank around and do all sorts of crazy bureaucratic stuff. So,
But we've been in the new house for 6 months. We've been shoring up this place, making it our own. Justin has a bunch of projects he wants to do on the RV,
Yes.
but we've been trying to do the house things first because they've been more immediate.
yes.
Because the previous owner had a bunch of stuff. She moved away and the house is being sold empty. So there was a bunch of deferred maintenance that needed to be done.
Yep,
So.
and still kind of catching up with some of that. There's still lots of stuff to do, and even learning about how everything grows around here and all that kind of stuff takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, because we have a koi pond.
Yes, that's a whole thing.
That was
too.
so funny because that was my joke about an extravagant house. Like, oh, like, we're not going to get something with a koi pond. And then the house that would work
Yep.
had a koi pond. So
Learning how to take care of a pond, because I have not done that before either. So
yeah, so for those of you that have asked about Ratface and how we're getting along without him, we miss him every day.
Yep.
He is our sweet baby angel. He always will be. But now we have 4 fish that we're taking care of.
Yep, and they protecting them from all the birds and all the other wildlife that's around here.
There's a duck that crash landed into the pond one day. We've seen a Cooper's hawk. What was the name of that thing?
Yeah, it was a Cooper's hawk.
Oh my! And then there were some ravens that were like.
I think they were mostly just curious what was going on.
I don't want to risk it though, so that's been something new.
Yep. So for the RV, still have planned out that I'm going to be ripping out the bathroom floor, fixing the seals on the toilet and black tank, which you can tell I'm not really looking forward to, but I'm going to do anyway because it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars if I have somebody else do it, most likely.
We have a friend who's handy here that would probably help you out. So.
I don't know if he's going to want to do the black tank.
I don't know. He's a nice guy. I'll bribe him.
But in order to do that, I might actually use him because I'm going to want to run a sewer line out there. Now, the house is actually set up really, really well for it. I just need to pull the permit and actually get all the materials and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, he would know a lot about that.
Yeah,
so.
except for the permit part, but yeah.
Yeah.
I could probably just do it, but that's an easy one to get a permit for. So
Y'all might see him if he's not too camera shy.
yeah, probably some maintenance on the roof because we have a bunch of pine sap and stuff up there. Maybe I'll test some products for it.
Oh, that'd be good.
As we do that, and just I'll give you the rundown of all the wear and tear that happens with a vehicle that's not made to live full time in, and what happens when you live full time in it for 2 years. And there's a lot of different stuff that happens and breaks and doesn't break, and we'll kind of walk through a lot of that.
Yeah, we had the whole RV kind of laid out a certain way when we were full-time, and now that we're going to be using it for part-time trips, I think we're probably going to redo the way that we use the space inside.
Most likely, yeah.
That'd probably be an interesting video to show them as well how we're changing the way that we use it.
As we figure out how we want to bring friends with us and how we want to use it around here, we're planning on maybe 1 or 2 small trips this summer. Can't really be away for too long. House is expensive. Campgrounds are expensive. Yada yada.
Yeah. But the nice thing is, especially once you get that set up, the sewer thing and some kind of macerator maybe, once we have a way to dump our tanks here at the house, that'll make it so that we have more parks we can go to.
Yes.
When we were full-time and we were trying to work our day jobs while we were traveling full-time, it was not worth it to us to have to kind of mess around with the tanks more than we had to. We really needed full hookups when we were traveling a lot of places. Now that it's more of a vacation home, we'll have that
Yeah,
flexibility.
we might do some more state parks and things like that. So, we maybe do some reviews for those when we go out. Who knows? The house is set up really good for the sewer hookup because there's a nice 3-inch sewer line right at the edge where the RV is. I just need to run maybe water, and I might just steal electricity from a high amperage dryer port that's basically right inside for if I need electricity. So
Yeah, I've shown them that we can see the RV from our laundry room.
we're not technically allowed to stay out there due to just city rules.
Oh, it's not a residential RV
Yes.
unit.
Yeah, so nobody's really going to be staying out there. Maybe if I'm like, feel like staying out, if we have a friend that needs to stay
If we have a
somewhere
friend
overnight,
who needs to stay and they don't want to stay in the house, they want the privacy of it, that'll be fine. They use the bathrooms in here.
Yeah, but
Or we can set it up that way. I don't know.
But we'll figure it all out. We have plenty of guest space and stuff in the house too.
Yes,
so.
we did. We actually got a house with that in mind. Since we're from everywhere, we're gonna have people visiting us. So
Yes.
yeah.
We have been getting approached by several vendors for stuff. Nothing that I've been terribly interested in.
Oh, for sponsorships?
For sponsorships
yeah,
and things
we've
like
gotten
that.
some sponsorship emails.
Yeah.
One of them specifically was pet related. So
Yeah, that was a little.
I was actually interested, but our cat passed.
Yeah, so
that
it's-
was a no-go.
No go. I think a few solar power and battery companies have reached out. Nothing I've been terribly excited in, and nothing I've been like, yes, I'm going to spend 8 to 20 hours of my time to go test your product and do a review for yet. So
Yes, I don't know if I've told them here. I've talked about it on my other channel where I talk about content creation, but we had a sponsorship deal here on the channel. We basically had a sponsor approach us. We tried out the product. We hated the product. We talked to them. We're like, hey, do you want us to post this review that we hate? And they were like, no, don't post it. So
yep, never mind. It was supposed to be a product that was going to help a little bit with safe driving, and I decided to axe that and just use the content for.
because honestly, there's no amount of money worth like lying to people for.
No.
Like that's garbage.
No, and I don't really. Honestly, there's enough negative reviews in the world. I don't need to contribute to them.
That's true too. Yeah, there are other negative reviews for this product. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. I also do some maintenance videos for like what do you do as it's in storage, because it's just kind of a different life cycle. One thing like I've never really seen is like how do you make sure all your tanks stay cleaned out and things like that. Because I guarantee you there's stuff hanging around in there. So how do you kind of make sure that doesn't get, really bad over several months or something? Usually, I don't think it's a big deal as long as you've been taking care of them prior to.
Just some kind of RV storage sort of stuff. And you've been doing a lot of random projects around, and I've been chasing you around with a camera. Eventually, we might actually get you a little channel where you're fixing stuff up, but.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
He's been really busy with work, though. I mean, we both have, but.
Yep, because I work 50 or 60 hour weeks, and then the rest of the time is just taken up with all the chores around the house. So
it's been
as we
crazy. Lots of projects.
We whip it into shape. So
We've been getting some really good questions
yeah.
while we've been in the house, and we're going to answer all of those for you
Yeah, but we're going to do it in another video.
in another video.
So stay tuned, and we'll talk to you again soon.